Hello everybody. Today we are going to start with the next part of our soft computing where we talk about fuzzy logic. So fuzzy logic, it is a very interesting field, and it is actually which deals with the vagueness and the uncertainty, which was initially the concept behind or the motivation behind the field of soft computing. Okay, so what is actually fuzzy? Let's try to understand this. To understand this concept of fuzzy, we'll take the example of a small conversation between two friends. Let's say this is one of the friends, Elisa, who's talking to her friend, and she's given her a text message saying, "Hey, I'm coming this weekend. How's the weather there?" So she wants to visit the place, her friend's place on the weekend, and she is inquiring about the weather. Her friend replies to the message saying, "It's cold here." The moment Eliza hears about cold, the things which come to her mind is cold. So what is cold implying? Cold means it is a snowy weather. There is going to be snowfall. So I need to pack in a lot of clothes with uh, covering my hand, long boots, so that I'm ready and prepared to move in a snowy weather. Or it is cold, but it must be raining. So there's no snow, I guess. So it must be pretty cold. I need to have warm clothes. I pack in the warm clothes, but there is no snow at least in that area. Or cold means it is really low temperature. I need good warm clothes, but the sun shines bright there. So what does this cold imply? So does she mean that cold means it is a snowy weather with 0 degree, or she understands cold as a low temperature with rain coming, and that should be around 10 degree, or it is a weather which is having a typically low temperature like in India, and it is she classifies it sunny winter weather with 16-degree temperature. So what do you think? Does the cold just signify 0 degree, 10 degree, or 16 degree? Can I map cold weather to a particular temperature? No. So when we are not able to map a particular situation or a particular parameter to a discrete value or a single deterministic value, there is where the concept of fuzzy comes. When there is a vagueness in the value of a parameter, that is where the fuzzy comes. So cold can, instead of saying it a 0 degree temperature or a 10 degree temperature or a 16 degree temperature, I can specify that temperature must be varying between 0 to 16 degrees or 0 to 20 degree. So for me now cold is typically a set of temperatures which is less than 20 degree. Okay. So that is where the concept of fuzzy comes. So when instead of specifying a single deterministic value, I give it a range, okay, where the variation is there, it can go high or it can go low. So that variation which I attach due to the uncertainty in that parameter, that becomes fuzzy. So fuzzy is something which is not deterministic to a single value, which has a tendency of variations which can be there due to the environment or due to the conditions. So I hope with this we have some introduction or some basic understanding of what fuzzy is. So let's start. So fuzzy, it actually implies the partial truth or a measure of uncertainty. So if you connect back to your first lecture, this is what we talked about. So the professor Lorfizadeh, he coined this term soft computing to measure the uncertainty in the real world situation. Okay, if I say the weather is warm, so warm can be 30 degree, warm can be 25 degree, warm can be 27 degree. So I have a range of temperature instead of a single value. Similarly, if let's say I have water, I want lukewarm water. When I say lukewarm water, that can have a temperature around, so it is around 10 degree. I cannot say it is exactly 10 degree. So it is not deterministic. So there is some amount of uncertainty. If the temperature of the water is 9.9 degree, I will not reject it. Okay, this is not lukewarm because it is less than 10 degree. So I have to incorporate a margin because of certain variations which have to be accepted in the environment. So that is where my fuzzy comes in, which allows certain variations or certain uncertainties to be incorporated in the expected values of the parameters. Okay, so it actually generalizes the classical two-valued system, which is either true or whether it is false. So if I say lukewarm water, so if I specify 10 degree as the temperature for the lukewarm water, it means if it is 9.8 degree, it means no, that is not acceptable as lukewarm. So that kind of thing is called your generalization. So I spread my two valued logic from true and false to a range of values in the fuzzy logic. So it is a kind of multi-valued logic, and the uncertainty that is now measured in the terms of degree of membership. For the time being, I will defer this statement till we actually understand the fuzzy sets, and then we will go to the concept of degree of membership. So decision making in the fuzzy logic, it is based on fuzzy sets. So fuzzy sets, when I talk about, I need to just familiarize myself with the basics of the set theory. So just uh, moving through or brushing up through the basics of the set theory. What is a set? Set is nothing but it is defined by naming all the elements as the members of such set A, such that all the properties which are associated with set A are satisfied by all the elements which I have included as the members of set A. For example, if I identify my set A as the set of, for example, consider I have a big toy set, big collection of toy cars, and in which I further want to classify it. In that, I define a set A as set of cars which are having the color red. So all the cars which are red in color, they would be put in my set A. So what is the property which I am associated with set is red color. Okay, and all the members which have to be part of set A need to satisfy this property. So it is represented as nothing but collection of the members A1, A2, AN, which are the elements of the set A, and they are satisfying a particular property Px which belongs to all the members or all the elements of set A. So when I talk about any set, every set is associated with a characteristic function, and this characteristic function, it quantifies the elements which are members of the set A. So if the particular property is satisfied, particular or all the properties are satisfied for the set, I will include an element in the set A. That is fine. But when I am quantifying that in the terms of a value, that is what is called my characteristic function. So I denote it by xi of A, and if it is 1, it means that element belongs to set A, and if it is 0, it means the element does not belong to the set A. So in other words, qualitatively I can say that if the value of this characteristic function is 1 for an element x, it implies that that element x is satisfying all the properties which are associated with set A, and if the value of this characteristic function is 0, it means the element x is not satisfying all the properties which are associated with the set A. So the qualitative concept of belonging to the belongingness of an element to a set is represented quantitatively by the characteristic function. Now brushing through the briefly through the properties. So A is a subset of B implies all the elements which are present in A are present in B also. If A is equal to B, it means A and B, they have the equal number of elements and equal and same elements. So all the elements which are present in A are present in B also. Okay, and the number is also same. Next is A union B. So that implies that either the set is belonging to, so I have made a new set given by A union B in which all the elements are included which are either part of set A or part of set B, and then we have intersection. Now intersection means we are defining a new set over the existing sets A and B such that an element is belonging to set A as well as to set B. So an element has to be present both in set A as well as in set B for to be included in A intersection B. Then we have A as an empty set. Any set is said to be empty set when there is no element in my universe of discourse which is satisfying the properties associated with the set A. For example, in my collection of toy cars, I define a set A which is all the cars which are having the color blue, and name, and let's say I don't have any car which is blue in my collection. So it means in that case A will be an empty set. Next, A bar or A dash, that denotes the complement of the set and includes all the elements which do not belong to A but are part of the universe of discourse. So what is universe of discourse? Universe of discourse is set of all the elements which are in consideration. So now in my case of example of toy cars, my collection of cars, toy cars, is universe of discourse. Okay, and then we have the property of involution, which says that double complement of a set is same as the original set itself. Okay, so we have other properties. Okay, this is the property of relative complement, that is B minus A signifies set of all the elements which belong to B but they are not part of set A, and X belongs to the universe of discourse. So for my universe of discourse, my elements which are belonging to B but they are not belonging to set A, that gives me the relative complement. So apart from that, we have so many other properties. I have just taken a just screenshot of that from the book. It is on the page 8 of the book given by George Killier and Yuan, named Fuzzy Sets and Fuzzy Logic. It's a very good book on fuzzy logic. So you can go through these all properties because we need to understand these properties, like what is law of excluded middle, what is law of contradiction. So you should be familiar with these properties of the set theory, which would eventually be used. But since we are not working on the classical sets, so I am not going to elaborate on these properties. But please kindly go through these all properties. Okay. And if you have any doubts, you can come up and ask anytime. Okay, next we come to the concept of crisp set. Now, what are these crisp set? We have already talked about the classical sets. Okay, So classical sets are crisp sets. What are actually crisp? What do you understand by crisp? Crisp means something which is very sharp, crisp. It breaks. Okay. If I try to bend it, it breaks. So it is very rigid. So that rigidity is what defines it as a crisp set. So when I talk about in the terms of set theory, crisp sets or the classical sets are the sets which are having very sharp boundaries or very deterministic boundaries. Just again taking the example of my toy car collection, I say the color of the car is red. Let's say I am having a car which is having its roof painted as white and rest of the body is painted red. So now, though it is red for 70% of its body, but 30% of its roof, 30% of its body constituting the roof is white. So it will not be classified as a red car because for me, red means what? For me, red stands for 100% color of the car is red except the windows and the tires. Okay, so the entire body, metal body, that should be red in color. So that is what is being sharp or deterministic or rigid on the boundaries of that. To be more precise or trying to elaborate it a little more, like we talked about, the temperature is warm, the weather is warm. So when I say warm weather, now if I put the warm weather means 29 degrees centigrade temperature, so that would be a crisp set. It means that any weather which is having temperature higher than 29 degrees centigrade is warm for me. Okay, so even if I have a temperature value measured as 28.8, I will not classify it as warm. Okay, so this is the sharpness of the boundaries or the logic by which I include an element in the set or not, that is deterministic, rigid, sharp, single value. So that is what defines my crisp sets. So I can say my crisp set is nothing but collection of unique elements from my universe of discourse, and it is represented as all x such that x belongs to universe of discourse. So next thing which is associated with the crisp set is an element either belongs to the set or it doesn't belong to the set. That is, a car is either red in color or it is not red in color. So there is no inclusion that okay, this car is having 70% red color. No, it is not 100% red, so it means it is not red. Okay, so either belongingness to the set is either 1 or 0. So let's consider an example where we need to identify the students in the class who are tall. Now to define my tall, I fix the height value at 5 feet 3 inches. So any student whose height is greater than 5 feet 3 inches is going to be tall. Okay. So in my terms of crisp set, all the students which are having the height greater than this value of 5 feet 3 inches, 5.3 is going to be tall, and any student even with the height of 5.25, okay, that is not going to be classified as tall because that is going to fall on this side of my boundary. So any value, howsoever close it may be, so howsoever it may be close. So this area which I have actually shaded with these lines, this is going to be classified as the values which are going to be not tall. So this is not tall. Okay, so even if it is lying at this point, okay, just next to the boundary where classification of tall starts, it will still be included in not tall. Okay, so this is a crisp set, example of a crisp set. So let's try to understand what is a fuzzy set. For that, we consider the same example where we need to identify the students who are tall. Okay, so again we put up a fixed value, that is 5 feet 3 inches as the logic or as the decision boundary. But let's say there is a student in the class whose height is 5 feet and 2.6 inches. So he is just marginally smaller than what is the criteria. He is marginally short than the decision boundary. So will he not be classified as tall? Ideally, he should be classified as tall. And this is the provision which is given to us by fuzzy set. So if this was my decision boundary, which was very sharp, coming at a single point and dividing the region into not tall and tall, with the help of fuzzy, what I do is I smoothen this decision boundary so the transition from the region between not tall towards tall, it becomes smoother. Okay, so here what happens is even a student with a height of 5 feet 2.6 inches will have some value of degree of membership which decides the degree of belongingness of the height of this student towards the set identified as tall. So he is tall, but to what degree? But by a degree which is classified by a value somewhere between 0 and 1. So he is not having a complete highest or the maximum value to be categorized as tall, which was based on this crisp value. But he has some uh, degree of membership, some value of belongingness which is being quantized. This, yes, okay, he can be categorized as tall to an extent where he can be considered as 80% he satisfies the criteria. Okay, so that 80% will give it a membership degree of 0.8. So that is what we do when we talk about fuzzy set. So I have actually smoothened the decision boundary and identified it with a range. So I have specified it a range which takes the values little lesser than this crisp boundary and little on the higher side of this crisp boundary. Okay. So here what I can say is now my decision or the fuzzy set range will vary between these 2 points A and B instead of a single point C. So now my fuzzy set has been defined. So tall will actually be a range which is identified by a set of values varying between A and B. So this will actually give, so at every point on this decision boundary. So if we clearly see, so at every point of this decision boundary, and this point, on and this point, I am going to have some degree of belongingness to this fuzzy set, which is classified as tall. So I hope we are now clear on what is a fuzzy set and how we can relate it to a crisp value or a deterministic value. So with this understanding, I can say that my fuzzy set, it captures the vagueness or the uncertainty of the real world ambiguity, and every fuzzy set is described by a membership function instead of the characteristic function. So the set A can be described as set of elements X with a degree of membership mu X. So now the elements, they are specified as an ordered pair where we have the element and the corresponding degree of membership in the set A. So it is a pair in which I can specify the value. So every element of the fuzzy set associated has a degree of membership which quantitatively measures its belongingness to the fuzzy set. Okay, so this diagram or this picture clearly shows me that if it is a crisp set, I am having a very sharp boundaries on both the sides, whereas if I am talking about a fuzzy set, I have a transiting boundaries on both the sides, uh, and this can be a trapezoidal function or it can be a triangular function. So it can be any function, mathematical function which is having a slope at the decision boundaries, that can be classified as my membership function for describing a fuzzy set. So just let's try to compare what is a fuzzy and a crisp set. So fuzzy set, it is defined as a set with a smooth boundaries, whereas a crisp set is defined as a set with sharp boundaries, as we've already seen. Fuzzy is based on the multi-valued logic, whereas crisp is based on the two-valued logic of true and false. So here a fuzzy set is represented as a collection of ordered pairs where the element and its corresponding membership value is described, whereas crisp set is nothing but collection of distinct elements. So for a fuzzy set, a member can have the value varying between 0 and 1. So it can have a value 0, 0.1, 0.5, 0.7. So any value, infinite values existing between 0 and 1. Whereas the crisp, for a crisp set, an element or the member can have either 0 or 1 as the value, because either it belongs to the set or it doesn't belong to the set. So this gives me another difference also, that for a fuzzy set we identify it with the membership function, whereas a crisp set is identified with a characteristic function. And the next point is, any element in the universe of discourse can at the time belong to more than one fuzzy sets with a partial degree of belongingness to both the sets. So there may be two overlapping sets. Let's say in the case of tall only, if I am specifying my height for the tall, and let's say I define another set which is, let's say, medium height. I am defining that medium height is existing between the range 4.7 to 5.1. So this section of 5.1, and whereas tall was existing from 4.11 inches to, let's say, 5.7. So this region of 4.11 to 5.1 is overlapping between the two. So any element can fall between this overlapping region and still belong to both the sets, but with a different degree of membership. So it may fall on the taller side, or it may belong to the set tall with a degree of membership with, let's say, 0.7, whereas it may belong to the set of medium height with a degree of membership, let's say, 0.2. Okay, so at the any element in the universe of discourse can belong to more than one fuzzy sets, but typically in case of crisp sets, either a element belongs to the set or it doesn't belong to the set. So either a person is tall or he is not tall. So he may be tall or he may be in the category of short or lesser than tall. So typically this is the scenario in crisp. And the last point is the area and the under the curve in the fuzzy set membership function need not be 1. So if we take the area under the membership function, that is not 1, but it should be any value which is varying between 0 and infinity. Whereas in case of a crisp set, that is always considered to be 1. So these were the major differences between the fuzzy and the crisp sets. To understand is what is the difference or is there any difference between probability and fuzziness? Okay, is it different or it is same? What is the difference if I say that there is a probability that tomorrow will be a rainy day, or I have a uncertainty whether it will be a rainy day or not? So what is the difference in this idea of being fuzzy and probability? So we can say that probability it is measure of likelihood of an event before the occurrence of the event. So I can say that there are chances of tomorrow being a rainy day, or there is probability of being a rainy day. And what is the probability? Let's say it is 50% or the chances are 50%. So we calculate or we predict or we talk about the probability of occurrence of an event before the event has actually taken place. Whereas fuzzy, it measures the degree to which the outcome of the event belongs to the set. So it measures how much the outcome of the event belongs to a particular interval or range of values. So this means the event has already occurred and there is an outcome and we are just defining a range of values and deciding upon what is the belongingness on this range for the outcome which is already achieved. So same just as I told you, probabilities there is a probability of 0.05 or 50% chances of rain tomorrow versus understanding that it is cold as it is a rainy day. So it is already a rainy day and the temperatures have dropped and I can say that it is relatively cold. So how much cold? That can be varying to 0.7 degree, 0.2 degree, 0.3 degree. So that is being fuzzy. That if I'm saying the temperature has dropped low, it means the temperature has come below 20 degree. But how much below? How much? Is it falling exactly in the cold range of cold weather, or it is relatively cold? The temperature is around 16-17 degree. So that is what fuzziness is. Or better, let's take another example. Let's say we are talking about the car accidents. So we can say that probability of occurrence of a car accident on this particular stretch of road is high and it is around 80%. That is 0.8% is the probability. So it means I have that there is, I can predict or I can foresee that the chances of occurrence of accidents on a particular stretch of the road is high. Okay, but uh, if I talk about that accident has occurred and it is severe or it is less severe or it was all the people were safe, that is what measures the fuzziness. So occurrence of a car accident, that is probability, and seriousness of that car accident, how serious was it, that is fuzziness. Okay, so it can be summed up as probability measures the randomness of an event while fuzziness deals with the boundaries of classification being not sharp. Okay, so probability, it measures randomness of event, that what are the chances of its occurring, what is the likelihood of its occurrence, whereas fuzziness deals with that if I want to classify that particular event based on its outcome, so that classification may not be based on a sharp boundary or a discrete value but a range of values. So I hope I am very clear on it. Ideally, it has been uh, summed up, or it has been said by Leverett and Seaman in 1992 that fuzzy set theory represents a higher level of abstraction which is relative to the probability theory. So probability theory, it only deals with chances of occurrence of an event, whereas fuzzy set, it determines the degree of belongingness of the outcome of the event to a particular class. Okay, so it is a higher level of abstraction over the probability theory. Okay, so with this we come to the end of our first lecture, which gives us idea on what is fuzzy logic and what are fuzzy sets and what are crisp sets, and just a brief review of what the classical set operations are. Okay, so now we come to the applications of the fuzzy set. Fuzzy logic, it is applicable, it is finding application in almost all spheres of real life, such as washing machine, air conditioners, air purifiers, cameras, automotive engine controls, in the industrial plant control system, pattern recognition. So normally fuzzy inference systems are used in which certain rules are formed, and these are used as the basis of the fuzzy control applicable to different applications in our surroundings. To actually talk about the systems which are practically being used and by the big MNCs and companies, just to name a few, like air conditioner by Hitachi, by Mitsubishi, by Sharp, by Matsushita, they are already incorporating the fuzzy logic for determining or preventing the overshoot and the undershoot and the temperature oscillations. Okay. Then the anti-lock brakes are already used by Nissan in the automotive systems. In case of the again, Nissan is employing fuzzy logic in the auto engines for fuel injection and ignition. Okay. In the auto transmission systems, again, Honda, Nissan, and Subaru, they have incorporated the fuzzy logic for calculating the gear ratio to determine the engine nodes according to the road styles. For the chemical mixers, Fuji Electrics, they're already using fuzzy logic for mixing chemicals based on the conditions of their industrial plant. So these were the few. You can refer to these from the book which is given by Bart Kosko, Fuzzy Thinking, The New Science of Fuzzy Logic, where numerous applications they have been listed, used in the practical systems actually being developed around us. Okay. Regarding the reference books and the study material, apart from your presentations and the lecture notes, you can always refer to the books. First one is the Fuzzy Logic Intelligence Control by John Yen and Riza Langari. It is a book by Pearson Education. Then there is another good book by Fuzzy Sets and Fuzzy Logic by George Khalil. And you can always find the reference of this book on Principles of Soft Computing by Sivanandan. So Sivanandan is one book which is going to give you artificial neural networks, fuzzy logic, and genetic algorithm, all the three fields at the basics required. Okay. Whereas for the detail on the fuzzy logic, you can refer to this book by Riza Langari. That is a very good. Okay. So thank you everybody. So in the next lecture we will talk about more on the fuzzy sets, the properties of the fuzzy sets, and here uh, fuzzy interval and fuzzy membership functions. Thank you so much.